Welcome to today's session, Financial Literacy in Action, Resources and Cyber Awareness, hosted by Lumena Financial Strategies. First, I'd like to introduce my co-presenter and your host today, Alison Fleming, who is president of Lumena Financial Strategies. Alison is a certified financial planner practitioner, and for those of you who may be joining us for the first time, I'll go ahead and introduce her. Alison has been a financial advisor since 1989 and serves clients in 36 states across the country. She holds a bachelor's degree in speech communication from Cal State Long Beach and believes that we must always adapt to the changing environment, remain current, and take advantage of opportunities to improve our clients' lives. Our local motto, "Be a long-term thinker, not a short-term worrier," serves as the cornerstone of her discussions.
Hi, thank you so much, Caresse. Welcome everybody to our webinar today. And before I introduce Caresse in all her glory to you, I would like to go ahead and introduce you to our entire team. Then I'm going to spend a minute just talking about Caresse and our background. So here's our team. I would like to just make sure that everybody knows who we are. So, of course, myself, and then we have Miles Fleming, our Executive Vice President and Insurance Specialist, particularly specializing in Medicare and Medicare Supplement Insurance. Britt Stevens, our Vice President, who is doing most of our trading and our portfolio design work. We have Peter Fink, who is our resident stockbroker extraordinaire, who is teaching me lots of things about stock picking and educating me on some stuff I never knew before. And we have Damian Feldman, our client experience manager, who is usually the person you talk to first at the front desk, and he is the keeper of the calendar among so many other things. We have Terry Jocelyn, executive assistant and administrative manager, keeping our files nice and tidy and making sure that everybody's ready for everything. We have Maddie Uoa, who is up in our San Pedro location. She's our senior administrative assistant and is there up in San Pedro. Kaylee Levin, who is our client care coordinator, is here in San Diego. She works with me on a lot of meetings, specifically when it comes to financial planning and tax planning and things like that. We have Lucy Adame, who is also up in the San Pedro location. She's an administrative assistant up there, also helping with a lot of meeting prep and other things that we're doing. And then finally, our creative director, Caresse Vera. So we'll take a minute and just talk about Caresse. We're not behind her back because she's actually here with me in the room, well, in the Zoom room with us. So Caresse and I have been working together for a long time. I think we're figuring that it's about 20 years or so, coming up on it anyway. And she started off with me in Torrance. She followed me down here to San Diego and has eventually grown from an administrative role really into being in charge of everything having to do with our brand. So our creative director position not only runs the webinars, she also creates the content for our website. She also creates our business cards. She also, anything that you see, anything that you receive along the way from us, Caresse has designed it. So one of the things that many people don't know about Caresse is that she has gotten her certificate from Harvard Business School online for digital marketing. So she really knows her stuff. She's not only just going from experience, but she's also been educated in this regard. She actually did that for herself. She told me about it after she finished, when she'd already taken the course, gotten the certification, and said, "Hey, guess what I did?" So I was so very proud of her. So with that, I'd like to really just invite Caresse to join me here. Oh, before I do that, you got to read the disclosures. So here's all our disclosures. You can go ahead and toss that one away, Caresse, and come join me on the camera and join me for the presentation. Most of this will be Caresse presenting to you, and then I'll chime in when needed. So go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Well, hello. Thank you for that introduction. That was very nice. And she can't get rid of me. I'm just following her everywhere. So,
That's
well,
okay.
yeah. We're really glad that you joined us. It's Financial Literacy Month. So, we just figured this is on topic. And so, this conversation will focus on learning, awareness, and practical steps that you can take in today's digital world. And our session is called Financial Literacy in Action, where our goal is to share resources that are currently available available to you, along with some general information around cyber awareness and protecting your personal information. It's meant to be an educational session, so as we go through everything, feel free to take notes and think about what might be most relevant for you and those you care about. Well, when we think about financial literacy, it's easy to think of it as something you learn once and then move on from. But in reality, it's something that continues to evolve over time. The information available to us is constantly changing, and so are the tools that we use and the risks that we face. At the same time, we're all interacting more and more in digital spaces, whether that's managing accounts, communicating, or accessing information. So today's conversation is really about bringing those two ideas together, continuing to build knowledge while also being aware of how to navigate in an increasingly digital world. So this is a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. We'll be introducing our Financial Literacy Hub and show you how you can use that as a resource. And from there, we'll talk more about general concepts around cybercrime and identity-related risks, just to build awareness about what's out there. We'll also share a high-level look at how we approach protecting client information, and then we'll close with some practical steps that you can take to help protect yourself as well. So before we dive into the hub, it's helpful to take a step back and define what we mean by financial literacy. At its core, it's really about understanding financial concepts and being able to make informed decisions over time. It's not about knowing everything or getting everything exactly right. It's just about having a foundation that helps you ask questions, evaluate options, and adjust as your life evolves. Because financial decisions don't happen in isolation, they're connected to life stages, goals, and sometimes unexpected changes along the way. And as part of supporting that ongoing learning, we created our Financial Literacy Hub in 2024. This is a centralized resource on our website that brings together a variety of educational topics in one place. And it's designed to be accessible whether someone's just getting started or looking to build on what they already know. And also as a teaching resource for young ones. It's not limited to one type of person. It's something that can be used by individuals, families, those with different learning styles, and even shared across generations as a way to support conversations around money. So I'll go ahead and give you a quick little tour here because I think it's important that you see how we have this set up for you. So let's go ahead and share. Here we go. Okay, hopefully you can see that screen now.
It worked.
Perfect. All right. So let's take away at a look at how the hub is organized. Our goal was to design it in a way that makes it easier to explore based on where you are in life and what you're looking for. So on the home page, it's broken into four main pathways. These include resources for parents who want to teach financial concepts early, resources for young adults who are beginning to navigate financial decisions on their own, resources for adults at any stage, and a section focused on planning for later stages of life. Within each of these pathways, you'll find a mix of foundational topics, along with content that goes a bit deeper into specific areas. For example, if you're a parent or a grandparent, Resources for Parents offers educational materials to support teaching young ones about concepts to start building that foundational understanding. So I just want to click in here really quick. And just so you know, when we created this, I based all of this on a study called The Building Blocks of Financial Capability that was conducted by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So if you're curious about where this information came from, if you're a data nerd and you want to read that whole report, it's lengthy, so make sure you got time. But you can do that. It's on the homepage at the bottom. So this page for the young ones is broken up by the ages, and that's because cognitive learning develops over time. And so that is considered when the materials were developed for these age groups. So for example, early childhood, 3 to 5, if you scroll down, if you have a young one who's in that age group, then you can click on access the teaching materials. And it starts with a little sort of summary about where they are in that development phase. So you can learn how they're learning. And that's really important because this is a good place to start how to talk about money with your kids. It's so important that the environment is is right. A lot of the time, even tone matters. And so that's something that's super helpful that you can start with. And then there's free teaching resources like the Money as You Grow bookshelf that was created by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Finance Protection Bureau. These are actual books. These are printable books that you can create and print and go through with your young one. And they have Meet the Money Monsters. So, of course, they try to make it relevant and interesting to that age. And then Practical Money Skills is a third party from Visa, and it's wonderful. So, all of these materials, including worksheets and workbooks, are interactive, and you can use them at your, leisure and create sort of a program for yourself. Then they have the teaching ages 6 to 12, and this just kind of considers that they're a little older, they're able to take on a little more. Maybe they're going to learn with you while you're in the grocery store, things like that. So there's a lot of suggestions here on how you can incorporate it into everyday life. And then they also introduce interactive gaming because what better way than to get your interest with a young one than gaming, right? Because they all do it anyway. So here's a fun one where you can say, okay, you can play that video game if you do the Money Smart game first. So, but that's a good resource on that page. And then finally, in the ages 13 to 21, this is where you're starting to do things on your own. Maybe you open a bank account, maybe you have some starter accounts so that they can learn how that works. And so there's going to be a personal finance curriculum where if they want to, this is just like having a class in school. Thankfully, many classes do have this type of program now with all the pushes to have it included, but this is something you can do if they don't. Then there's also an area of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau website that's focused just on teenagers and adults. And then as you go through, there's interactive gaming for them too. So these are less kiddie games, a little more advanced for them. And then we also have the financial calculator so that you can learn, should I pay off debt or invest? How much home can I afford? Things like how much car can I afford? So the things you are probably going to be buying very soon. And then resources for young adults. So this takes us into that next path. And this is where we can have parents introduce their young ones to take this on themselves so that they can learn things that they're interested in. And that's exactly what we did. In Resources for Young Adults, we listened to young adults in our lives and learned what was most important to them. And we organized this with those more interesting topics to them at the top, and then layered down into the more, kind of maybe a little boring, but more very important topics at the bottom. And of course, my favorite thing on this page and probably on our whole hub is the When You Turn 18, a Legal Survival Guide. This was created by the California Lawyers Association, and it applies, it is for California, but it's still important. I give this to anyone who turns 18 because it's a legal survival guide in terms of now that you are of age, these are all the things that apply to you. These are the things you could get arrested for. What happens if you are too loud at night and someone calls the cops? So I think it's very pertinent to them and important to provide to them.
And that
But
was
also,
really the first thing you had, right? This
that was
sort of spawned the idea of the Literacy Hub came from this particular document that you ran into a long time ago.
Yeah, it started it all. At first, I thought, well, I should make my own version of it. But then I started thinking, why reinvent the wheel? All of this stuff is there. It's just all over the place. So that's why we made a hub where we go looking for the best of the best that we can find. And even if you find something out there that you think is super helpful, send it my way because I'm always adding to the hub. So, like we said, things evolve, and so it's important that we continuously update this. So we do have a lot in store that's going to be added very soon as well. And so I always think it's funny that the number three thing was like, how do I get out of here? So they can learn how to move out, how much
I
rent
don't
they can
know.
afford.
My parents gave me luggage for my 18th birthday, so I don't know what they were
That's
talking about
awesome.
there.
That and the 18 survival guide. There you
Yeah.
go. Happy birthday. So that's for young adults. Now, if we go back into the original past there and we start looking at the resources for adults, this is going to be higher level. In fact, it's actual courses that you can even earn certificates from if you wanted to. Sometimes that's helpful to have certificates depending on what kind of work you're in, but it's just nice to have access to different types too, because these programs are a little different from each other. So just find the one that you like. And then also the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has their own wealth of resources. So we lead you directly to that. And then under that are all the topic specific resources. So perhaps you already know a lot about retirement and you just have one question. Maybe you want to see a glossary of terms. You're not sure what a certain term means. You're going to find things like that here. So we have insurance covered, estate planning, investing. All of these are here. So this is kind of go at your own pace type of thing here. And then if someone is curious about having a financial advisor in your life and they're kind of on the fence about whether it's valuable or not, I mean, we expect that you'll tell them how awesome we are. But also, there's a nice little article here that really kind of conveys the value, the true value of having a financial advisor. So then when we go back, the last and final path here is Life's Final Chapter, Planning with Care. And this is a really nice resource that we are also building out. But this one covers more. Let me make sure I'm not losing my notes here. Yes, okay. This one deals with late stages of life and how to navigate loss with grace. And there's a lot of support here from learning about long-term care, which is so important and often overlooked, to a checklist of what to do when you lose a loved one. So I find these to be very helpful. There's also some resources if you have a family, if you're a family member of a veteran, there's resources just for you. And then there's other things like TIP, which a lot of people don't know about. So take some time to explore these. There's also sections on the home page. Let me go back here. Mind and Money is one of the more recent things that we added to the hub. This focuses on the idea that money is more than just numbers or budgets. It's often connected to our values, our emotions, and even our relationships. So it explores things like how we think about money, how we talk about it with others, how those patterns can influence the decisions you make over time. And it also touches on how to navigate financial conversations and work through those dynamics, whether it's within a partnership or across a family, because in many cases, it's not just about what you know, it's about how we approach the conversation and how comfortable we feel having them. Something we've lightly touched on that we plan to expand more on is with neurodivergency. I know, Allison, you know a lot about this topic and some of
I
what
do.
we'd like to add.
Yeah, no, we're building this out because of two things. Just my personal experience with family members who are neurodivergent, people in my life who are very close to me that are neurodivergent, and all that means is a different way of learning. And so one of the things that I found through these conversations with clients as I've been doing financial plans is that more people are getting, for example, ADHD diagnosis as an adult that were never diagnosed with it as a young person, but they struggled with certain behaviors and certain patterns that now are being recognized as ADHD. So some of the things that I have tried to help people with are things along the lines of how to think through spending, how to think through one of the common things with neurodivergence, ADHD related particularly, is impulsivity. So
I was
not
just thinking that.
filter.
That's what, yeah, because that's what I create. Sometimes the things I create for Lumina are out of a need for myself. Like our
Yes.
decision tree. The decision tree is like, if you feel like I want to buy this thing, I really want it, it actually forces me to go through the decision process. Do I want it? Do I need it? Do I want it? So
Yeah. Yeah.
the one that we have on there is really wonderful from Mind Money Balance. And this one helps you understand the things that you can relate to. They have things like the friendly money management tips, using services that help, but it also has just sort of the types of things that you experience and how to work through those so that you can
Mhm.
have a healthy relationship with money. So yeah, I
Yeah.
really love that. And we'll be adding
Yeah.
more soon.
Yeah, we're having quite a bit in terms of people coming in and going, hey, I'm just learning this about myself. And they might be 40 years old,
Hmm.
or they
Yeah.
have grandkids or kids that are all of a sudden on the spectrum. And it is a different way of thinking and learning. So I think it's really important. And I would also like to point out that to get to the Financial Literacy Hub from the very beginning on the home screen, you're looking at the resources drop down here and it takes you to the Financial Literacy Hub. So that first place that she clicked is up there under resources.
Right. Thank you for
So
pointing that out. I did forget to say that. So, no, there's a lot in the hub, but the idea is not to go through everything at once, but to have a place that you can come back to over time as questions come up. So, you might use it to revisit a concept or prepare for a conversation or just simply learn something new at your own pace. And if you're a parent, like we said, you can develop your own teaching course, use the materials in the first path, which are organized by age, so you can move through it as your young one grows. If you're a teacher, you can recommend it to parents who may be looking for more support in this area. And it can also be helpful as a way to introduce these topics to others you care about, especially if you're looking for a starting point that feels approachable. One of the ideas that we had, I have so many ideas with how you can use it, but we had a fun idea of making like an actual family event where we have little stations. So one would be learning the difference between a savings account and an investment account. And then the next might be learning, because these are young people in our lives. I have a lot of like 18, 19, 20-year-olds in my life that are nephews and nieces. And so then I thought, well, let's teach them how to do an interview. And then the final boss will be an actual interviewer. So we have a friend who does hiring. So they're actually going to interview them. So kind of, it might be a fun way to get kids involved where it actually benefits them immediately. So just finding new ways to use the resource. I also have a friend who is a professional. She uses this to send to her clients because she has adult clients that they just didn't have this. Schools
mhm,
didn't include finance or financial
nobody
literacy.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
nobody
was
did.
not included. So lots of people don't have this foundation. So that's what the purpose of it is. And just to take it in small steps over time. It's staying curious, asking questions, and continuing to learn as things evolve. And part of that awareness today includes understanding how we interact in digital spaces. So I'm going to switch back over here.
Terrifying, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to switch back over here, and I'm going to do my best not to scare you. This isn't meant to terrify anyone, but just to discuss the reality of it. So when we talk about cybercrime, we're generally referring to unauthorized attempts to access personal or financial information. These situations can take many different forms, and they continue to evolve as technology evolves. For most people, this shows up through everyday interactions like emails, text messages, phone calls, or websites that appear familiar. So while the term itself may sound technical, the reality is that these are situations that can show up in very ordinary ways. And that's why having a general understanding of what cybercrime looks like today is an important starting point. So let's look at, I wanted to also show you why awareness plays such an important role. Personal information has a real monetary value, and that's often what these types of attempts are trying to access. Cybercrime has grown into a global issue with estimates placing it in its impact in the trillions of dollars and continuing to increase over time. Something that I learned, I know Allison mentioned, I took the digital marketing strategy program with Harvard Business School Online. What I learned is just how valuable data has become. Very big corporations can offset certain losses. Like you may see certain companies that people are just brazenly stealing, walking right out with carts full of product. And you might think, how does that company survive with this happening all the time? It's because the data collected by that company offsets that value it replaces that value that they lose. So that is to help put into perspective just how much value can be tied to your personal information. Because of that, many of these attempts to obtain personal information are broad and automated. They can happen in very routine ways, like visiting a website or receiving a message, and they're not always targeted in a specific way, which means anyone can encounter them. So having a general understanding of what to look for can help you navigate these situations more confidently. And one of the reasons that's becoming more important is because of how quickly these methods are evolving. One of the biggest factors driving that evolution right now is the role of artificial intelligence. AI is becoming part of many of the tools we use every day, from how we search for information to how we communicate. And while it can be incredibly helpful, it's also changing how certain types of cyber activity are carried out. AI hasn't changed the goal, but it changed how these types of attempts are created and delivered. Messages that may have been much easier to recognize can now appear more polished, more relevant, and more aligned with what you might expect to see. So you used to be able to look for typos and errors. Well, AI has fixed that for these cyber criminals. At the same time, these attempts can be generated and sent much more quickly and at a much larger scale. Then increasingly, they're designed to feel familiar or create a sense of urgency, which can make it easier to react before taking a moment to verify. So the takeaway here is not that the goal has changed, it's that the delivery has become more refined. So there are many different types of cyber threats, far more than we could cover in a single session or even fit on this screen. So instead, we're going to focus on a few of the most widely reported and commonly encountered types. So this includes phishing and smishing, still in the number one spot, impersonation scams, credential theft, and account takeovers, data breaches, and malicious links or fake websites. Now, you don't need to memorize each of these. What's more helpful is understand how they typically show up and what they're trying to accomplish, because there is shared themes across all of them. So we'll take a closer look at one of the most common starting points, phishing and smishing. It's the most common entry point for scams because they typically appear as messages, whether it's a text, email, or even a social media notification that seem to come from a trusted source. They often include a link or a request for information, and increasingly they appear more polished and realistic. So the goal is simple, it's to get you to engage in some way, whether that's clicking a link, replying, or taking action. That's really all they need. So this visual shows you how that process typically unfolds. It starts with message delivery, and this can look like a text from your bank, a delivery service, or even a direct message on social media saying you've won something. I'm sure you have something on your phone right now because it's so common. Then this is followed by some sort of interaction and a click or a download, for example. From there, information can be captured, and or in some cases, malware may be introduced. And ultimately, that leads to exploitation. So whether that's unauthorized transactions, account access, or other forms of fraud, the process isn't a single moment. That's what I'm trying to communicate here. It's a sequence designed to guide someone step by step from message to interaction to potential exploitation. So while phishing is one of the most common starting points, there are other types of threats that follow similar patterns. Impersonation scams involve someone posing as a company or an organization, or even someone you know. You may have heard that people will get phone calls saying, "I have so and so, and they've been arrested, and we need you to send money right away." That is also considered an impersonation scam. And then credential theft
Move the
focuses.
number too, right, Chris? Because like I've gotten ones, somebody calls from Bank of America who sounds suspiciously like they might be somewhere in the Caribbean,
Yes,
and they'll say, well, yeah, just check the caller ID. You can look at
yes,
the back of your card. You can
they
see I'm
can.
really calling from the bank because they can spoof
Exactly.
the number
There
easily,
can
right?
spoof the number, right? So spoofing a number, just in layman's terms, is like making it appear it's like a mask. So it's not the true number they're calling from, it's the number that the telephone service is picking up as the identifier. So it is definitely, if you ever get a call like that, by the way, we're going to talk about this later, hang up. Just hang up right away. Don't worry. No one, it is far less likely that someone's going to die than that it is someone trying to get your money. So
That is
just no,
valid. That is
hang up
valid. Yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
Mhm.
So then there's data breaches are situations where information may be exposed through systems outside of your control. They happen all the time. No one is really truly safe. All you can do is your very best. And we'll talk about how we do that later. And then malicious links or fake websites are often used as part of these attempts to capture information. Now, across all of these methods, they vary, but the goal remains consistent. It's gaining access to information that can be used in some way. And when it comes to recognizing suspicious activities, one of the most important things to understand is why these attempts work. It's easy to think that technology is the biggest advantage, but often it's actually just an understanding of human behavior. Many of these messages are designed to trigger a reaction before there's time to think. For example, urgency, you might receive a message saying your account will be suspended unless you act right away, or that time pressure that is designed to get you to respond quickly. Um, Let me see. I think I went ahead here a little bit. Okay, no, I'm good. Sorry. And then authority is another one. A message might appear to come from a financial institution, a government agency, or even law enforcement. That sense of authority can make it feel more legitimate. And then there's fear. Messages like your account's been compromised or there's suspicious activity are meant to create concern so you'll take immediate action. And of course, curiosity or incentive, things like you've won a gift card or click here for an opportunity. A lot of hiring, there's a lot that where they're using hiring or a job offer as one of those incentives. They're designed to pull you in with something positive. So there's a simple framework that can be helpful. We like to think of it in 4 steps that you can use in real time. So first is spot the red flags. You kind of know what to look for. If you've attended any of Jeff Lanza's webinars that we've had in the past, he's covered them very well. But the things that you look for are unexpected messages, requests for personal information, or anything that's creating a sense of urgency. A helpful habit here is to take a quick second look at small details like the sender's email address, the link that you're being asked to click, or whether the message matches what you would normally expect from that source or person. Second, stop the urge to respond or react right away. If something creates that strong emotional response, whether it's urgency, concern, or excitement, that's the moment to pause. Even taking 30 seconds to just step back, switch to another task, that can help you come back and look at it more clearly. And when in doubt, it's always okay to pause. Legitimate organizations will not penalize you for taking time to verify. Damien is used to clients hanging up on him when he calls. So he
All
will
the time.
understand. Yeah. If you hang up and call him back to make sure it's us, we understand. Now, this is the third action, which is verify. That what they're doing is they're verifying that it's the trusted source. So if you didn't initiate that contact, then it's good to verify it.
Probably
Okay.
is Damien, though.
Yeah.
More than likely. Yeah.
So, so take a moment, confirm it's information you already trust, like a saved phone number, a known website, or by contacting the organization directly. And then that simple rule. If you didn't initiate it, verify it before taking any action. And then fourth is report suspicious activity. If something appears to come from us and you're unsure, give us a call directly. Use the number you've already saved. We're going to repeat this from our website, not the one in the message. If it's something else, you can report it to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov or the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov. If financial information may be involved, contacting your bank right away can help limit exposure. And if personal information may have been compromised, identitytheft.gov provides guidance on next steps. In fact, we have a booklet. If you're ever in our office, yeah, there's booklets that are available. And they're also now, this one's a little bit older, but they have one from October of 2020 that's a PDF and you can print it. So we'll make that available to you in the follow-up. But having something like that, it gives you step-by-step guidance on what to do if your information's been compromised. So once you start to recognize these patterns, the next step becomes much simpler, and that's knowing how to respond in the moment. Now, on our side, we also follow established processes and safeguards designed to support the protection of your information. I'll walk through what that looks like. This includes secure communication practices. When personal information needs to be shared, we use tools designed for secure transmission, such as encrypted email links. You may have had us say, let me send you an email with a link where you can upload something. That's what that means. Secure document vaults. These allow you to upload documents safely through platforms like WealthLink or AccountView, for example. And because of that, we ask that sensitive information not be sent through regular email and instead use these secure options whenever possible. And that's because if your password's compromised, all they need to do is go to your sent emails and they can download anything that you sent. So if you throw it in the trash and you think, oh, good, I deleted it, there's also a trash can that needs to be emptied.
Not
So
deleted.
yeah,
Mhm.
and in some cases, even that can be accessed. So you just need to, we have the email service because it's encrypted. So that means that if you sent it that way through us through your email, it was an encrypted one, it's just jarbled to them. It makes no sense. They can't do anything with it.
Mhm.
So that's why it's important to use those methods. And if you're ever unsure how to send something securely, just reach out and we'll guide you to the best option.
Yeah,
We also
we're also having more updated ways of being able to upload stuff. For example, anybody that has WealthLink, or it used to be called eMoney, for the financial planning side of things, that also has a document vault. The new version has just come out, and you can now get it on your phone. You can get a direct link through your account view portal, has a direct link into your financial plan where your vault can be accessed. And you can even take a picture of something with your phone and directly upload it to your vault. We get it on the other side, and that's all secure and encrypted that way. So it's getting easier and easier to do it. Encrypted email is sometimes a pain because you've got to do the password thing and all of that, but it's worth it. And
it's less of
you
a
know,
pain than losing money
mhm,
and your
yeah, for
identity.
sure. Less of a
So,
pain for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And so we also follow internal guidelines around how information is shared, including obtaining client permission before working with outside professionals like tax preparers or attorneys. We can do that. It just takes a form. So if you want to add someone who you work with, then there's just a form to add them so that we can have conversations with them. This also leads into our verification procedures. For certain types of requests, especially anything involving account changes or transactions, we require confirmation over the phone. And it's not just us, FINRA and all the regulators require us to do that over the phone. It allows us to verify your identity in a more reliable way. That is why. We also use tools like caller ID and maintain trusted contact information on file, which provides an additional layer of support if we're unable to reach you. It's just a form. You just add the person who's your trusted contact. And that way, if we're unable to reach you or have concerns, then we have someone trusted that we can reach out to. It does not mean we share any of your information. It's just someone to reach you through.
Like an
Um,
emergency contact.
Exactly. If you ever receive a request that appears to come from us but asks for immediate action, it's always okay to pause and call us directly to confirm, especially
Yes.
if you were not expecting it. That is a huge red flag.
We will
Uh,
never send you anything mysterious without calling you and telling you we're sending you something mysterious.
Right, yes. In addition to that, we follow internal processes designed to support confidentiality. As part of our relationship with our broker-dealer, LPL, they conduct periodic reviews. So clients may not know this, but we get audited every year to confirm that we're following established procedures. Our team also participates in ongoing training to stay current on common risks and best practices. We are tested. They will send us emails that are phishing emails, but it's actually just them testing to see that we reported it. So they really do take great care. And we utilize firm-supported technology as well, including network security tools and monitoring systems to support a secure working environment. And these processes are designed to create consistency in how the information is handled across our team. Now, all of these elements work together to help reduce risk and support the protection of your information. And one additional layer to be aware of is the role of our broker-dealer, LPL Financial. They have a set of security practices and monitoring systems in place at the firm level. They provide resources that outline how they approach cybersecurity and client protection, including a cyber fraud guarantee. I'll rather go through all the detail here. We've included this as a reference for you, so we can send this to you. It's client facing, it's on their website, so you can see it. So if you're interested, we're happy to share that link. Allison, you just went to the Masters Conference and you were telling me some updates that they had.
Yeah, it was amazing. Britt and I actually just went to the Masters Conference, and one of the things that they talked about in one of the keynotes is the budget and the progress that's been made over the last several years in the area of cybersecurity. So, a few years back, you may remember that hackers were trying to break into financial institutions. And so, the first group of companies that they tried to hack into were the banks and the major brokers. The second group of companies that they tried to break into were independent broker dealers like us, like LPL, not us particularly, but LPL. And now a lot of the companies have put protections in place. LPL has literally invested multi millions of dollars in data security and upgrades to the system to make sure that we've got everything in place. It doesn't mean something can't happen, but they're going to go for the most vulnerable target. They're not going to waste time on trying to break in somewhere that is unlikely to be vulnerable. So I think I feel really good that LPL has done their part, and adding the LPL Digital Office. And that's a newer system that was just introduced last year. And it has given us access to CrowdStrike and secure document storage and things that we just never had the access to do before. So it's really, really great that that's been implemented, and we're taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, yeah. So while those are layers that exist on the firm side, there are also a few simple ways that you can support secure communication on your end. And one of the most helpful things you can do is use secure channels when sharing information with us. So if you need to send documents, you can request that secure link, or use the Vault through WealthLink, or upload directly through LPL's account view. There's those multiple options, and they're designed to reduce exposure compared to regular email. Another helpful step is saving our contact information in your phone and in your email. Save us as an email contact. That way, if we call you, you can recognize, or email you, you recognize that it's us. And if
Mhm.
you ever receive a message that appears to be from us but feels unfamiliar, you can use that saved contact to reach out and verify. Speaking of text messages, it's important to know
Mhm.
that texting is not a secure form of communication.
No.
So we are also in a highly regulated industry. We are required to use an approved texting method. So you would need to opt into it in order to text us. So if you are interested in texting us, you can reach out to our team and we'll send you the invitation to opt in. But it still remains not a secure method of communicating. So it wouldn't be used for things like sharing anything of your PII, or using it for for requesting transactions or account changes. That's not a secure way. They don't even allow us to accept it that way. So but finally, avoiding sending sensitive information through regular email. I would say it like 3 times here because it's so important. Just
And it happens literally all the time.
it
People go,
happens all the time.
I don't want to do this encrypted email thing because it's a pain in the butt. And so
Yeah,
I'm just going to send it anyway. And I don't think anything's going to happen. Not a great idea.
right. Yeah, that's how it starts. So if you ever need help, we're always happy to guide you to the best option.
Yeah.
We're ready to do that. So far we've talked about how to respond in the moment, but the next section is about habits that can help reduce exposure over time. So first, enabling multi-factor authentication when it's available. That adds an additional step when logging in, but it helps limit access even if a password's compromised. Second is using strong, unique passphrases across different accounts. And this is where this chart can be helpful. It shows how different password formats compare in terms of how long they may take to break. Short, complex passwords with symbols can still be relatively vulnerable, while longer phrases made up of multiple words can be significantly stronger and easier to remember. So reusing passwords all across sites can also create a chain effect. If they get into one, they can use that email to recover password from another. So that's why it's really important that you make your passwords very difficult. You'll also see a link here to I Have Been Pawned, which is a tool you can use to check whether your email has appeared in known data breaches. It's really awesome because it will show you,
Shocking.
yeah, every single breach that's been involved, when it happened, what exactly did they get. And it's just a good way to remember, oh, it happened again. Let me change all my passwords, because that's really what you should do if you see it happen again. And then third, keeping your devices and software updated. Updates often address known vulnerabilities, so staying current can help reduce your exposure over time that way. And if you take one thing from this, remember, longer and unique. That's the thing for your passwords, is generally stronger. Now, those are habits that can help reduce exposure on a day-to-day basis. The next piece is really about staying aware over time, just periodically checking in on your information and accounts. So that's the first thing, is periodically review your accounts. That includes things like your bank statements or account activity, just to make sure that everything looks as expected. Another step is monitoring your credit. If you're ever looking for secure access to to credit reporting agencies or tools to review your digital footprint, we've actually included those on the helpful links page of our site. So if you click over resources on that main page, then go down to helpful links, you'll see that we have links directly, and the links go directly to freeze your account. Because if you don't have it frozen and you're not buying a house right now, you should have it frozen. So make sure if it's not done, do it after this webinar, okay?
Good
And
idea.
yeah, and then the third piece is auditing your personal information. So when you search your name online, you may come across data broker websites that collect and display personal information. Many of these sites offer options to request removal directly, which can be part of managing your digital footprint. So maybe you've seen Spokeo or White Pages or Intellius. These are the companies that are buying the data from companies like Walmart, Target, whatever, whoever's collecting that information. So you can actually go directly to them to request removal. Now, over time, your information can exist in a number of places. So having an awareness of where it may be shared is an important part of managing your digital footprint. And building on that idea of managing your digital footprint, there are also some newer tools becoming available to help with that. For example, hopefully all the other states follow this, but if you're in California, they have recently introduced the Drop platform, and this allows individuals to request that their personal information be removed from certain data broker databases. This is one example of a more centralized approach to managing that process because the data brokers will be required to remove anyone who has requested it through Drop every 42 days. So that's going to be very valuable. So you can sign up for that now, and we'll provide you the link to that too if you'd like. But you can also search, it's privacy.ca.gov. This is one example, but it's worth familiarizing yourself with how it works and considering whether that tool is something that you'd like to use. There's also services that paid services like Delete Me or Incogni that'll handle removal requests on your behalf, but those are optional. You can do it yourself, or if you find that valuable, you can use a service like that. But these types of steps can help give you more visibility and then control over how your information is shared over time. So, as we're bringing it all together, financial literacy is really about staying engaged and continuing to learn over time. It includes understanding financial concepts as well as being aware of how we interact in digital environments. Both play a role in helping you make informed decisions along the way. And as you think about what we've covered today, there are resources available if you'd like to explore further. So, that might include our financial literacy website or hub and the helpful links page on our website, or some of the tools we mentioned for reviewing accounts or managing your digital footprint. And if something comes up and you're unsure, reaching out to us directly is always an option. And this is a shared effort. So small, consistent steps over time can make a meaningful difference. And this is a reveal of our new polished website. It's not public yet, but this is going to be what our Financial Literacy Hub homepage looks like very soon. We are getting a facelift for our website. We've been working very hard on it to make sure that it's easy to navigate and looks fresh. And so you're going to see that really soon. But like we said, the hub is designed to be a resource that you can come back to over time, whether you're looking to revisit a concept or prepare for that conversation or simply just learn something new at your own pace. And I encourage you to share it with others, whether it's family members or anyone you care about who may benefit from having a starting point. And as always, if you have questions or would like to help navigating any of the resources we covered today, we're here as a resource for you. In fact, I made a brand new cyber awareness and helpful resources summary page, which is basically everything we covered in our webinar today. So I'll be sending that out to you. And then the PII document that we created some time ago really helps you understand what all of these different pieces of information look like. Because a lot of people think, oh, they got a picture of my ID. Well, yeah, that's the gold mine. If they get that, like they're very happy. But they're also happy just to get one account number. They're happy to get just your address, just your birthday, just the last four of your social. So it's all of these things cumulatively adding up that become very valuable, and it gets more expensive for people to buy the more they have from you. So that's why it's so important to continuously try and get your digital footprint removed and just to have safe practices. So I will also follow up with that.
Well, a lot of stuff is coming at you. Caresse is going to send out those PDF documents. And if anything does come up in form of a question, I think, since we have 5 minutes, let me just share a couple of things that we do when we feel that someone is being taken advantage of. So first of all, trusted contacts are really important because if someone is coming into, maybe it's not you, maybe it's your parent, or maybe it is you and your child is worried about you. We have had numerous situations where we've had the grandsons in jail scam, which you probably have heard of, where one of our clients got so mad at me because I told her she couldn't have her money because she called me. She's a person that would normally call and say, I need $5,000 because I'm getting hardwood floors in my living area. Okay, fine. That's legitimate. It's fine. You don't actually have to tell me what you're spending your money on, but it would be her normal pattern to say something like that. All of a sudden she called and said, I need $75,000. I need it wired to this outside place, and I'm not going to tell you what it's for. And so just don't ask me. And so what did I tell her? I said no. And she
Red
was
flag, red flag.
so
Yeah.
mad at me because I told her no. And she's like, it's my money. I'm like, today it's not your money because someone is trying to steal your money. And so in that case, what we can do if we determine that we think it really is truly a scam, which in this case it obviously was. And so what we can do is we can work with the home office and they can actually put a freeze on an account for a period of days until they determine that the person isn't being stolen from. And so I can think of 3 cases where I ran interference and was successful in blocking the thief from getting the client's money. One time I was not successful. We had the same situation. The lawyer from the company actually called the client with me and flat out told her to her face, this guy is stealing your money. If it leaves and goes to him, you're not going to get it back. Well, we only have a limited period of time where we can freeze an account for that reason why we think it's fraud. The client ended up transferring her money to the credit union and then they're giving it to the guy. And so he stole all her money. And about a year and a half later, I got a sad note from her saying, I'm so sorry. I got so angry with you. You were really right. He stole all my money and now I have to pay taxes on it. I don't have any money. I don't know what I'm going to do. She didn't have any trusted contacts. She didn't have any family. She didn't have any helping her. If she had had someone, we could have maybe gotten someone else involved. Unfortunately, there wasn't anybody in her life. And this was really kind of before trusted contact was available as a thing to add. But, it really truly is that I've had the sheriff's going to arrest me if I don't pay a fine for ducking jury duty. We've had the
Romance
romance
scams.
scams. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Those one are the worst because it's like it comes with heartbreak, like actual heartbreak, but it's,
right. Yeah.
we do our part. So
And these are not stupid people that we're talking about. They are intelligent people who got swept up in something. And a lot of it was emotionally driven, like Caresse was saying earlier. So, we will do our very best. And if you do your very best, hopefully we will all be successful together. So,
yeah.
well, thank you everybody for attending. Again, if you have questions, call us, email us, whatever you like. If you have any feedback, if there's anything that you'd like to see in an upcoming webinar that we can put together for you, that would be most welcome. And thank you everybody for your time. Have a wonderful rest of the evening and take care. Bye.
Bye.
And Caresse, thank you.
Yes, that was fun. Okay. Bye, everyone.